Lenny. Welcome, everybody. My name is Carolyn Hyslop, and many of you know me as the executive director here at the Canoe Museum, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the Jimon Kinamagoon, the Canoe Place of Learning. And we are here. I want you to shed your eyes over that way and take in the fact that we are so privileged to be situated on the shores of the Odabe-Zibi, the Otonabee River, here in the Treaty 20 Michi-Saugig Territory. And how fortunate we are that we are able to be hosted here by the wonderful people of the Treaty 20 territories and the peoples of the Williams Treaties territories as well. And those of you that know the Canoe Museum's collection, you know that this collection comes from all across Turtle Island and all across the globe. And so in addition to honoring the people of this land that we're so honored to be on, also want to honor the lands of those Indigenous peoples around Turtle Island and the rest of the globe as well, because these are also people that we work with on a day-to-day basis and are so thoughtful in terms of our relationships with those. So, but to honor and start our event off in a really good way, our very good friend Janique Labelle, who has a family canoe on display here in the exhibits and wonderful relations with the family and the many generations of said family. Very excited to have you open this event in a good way. Thank you, Janique.
Bonjour, Hanin Janek Indigenous Cause, Junskino and Norden Indigenous Cause, Amek and Dodum, Matawan Dunjaba. Everybody get that? So, yeah, you did. So my French name is Janik. My spirit's name is Power of the Four Winds. I am Beaver Clan and I hail from Matawa. I am the daughter of a canoe builder who is a master. And I'm also the mother of a canoe builder who is becoming a master. And my son, Alexandre, is the oldest of my three. And he was, I think, the first to build a birch bark canoe in this museum. Yeah, in the room where it's named after my dad, the Mohegan room downstairs. So lots of family connections, lots of interconnections, and we're all connected somehow, right? So the song that I thought to sing was the Wildflower Song. I'd like to first honor Janet McHugh, who was supposed to sing this evening, but she's dealing with a death in her family. So she has asked that I take the relève from her. So I absolutely, of course, accepted. And so the Wildflower Song, how I learned it was we sing while harvesting in the forest to ensure that the group over there harvesting the bit of berries is okay. And then it's kind of like in French we say a chanson à répondre, a call and answer song. And so here it is.
It's really special. Chimigwich, thank you. Merci. That was beautiful. Yay. And Janique said it perfectly. Surrounded by canoe builders and people that celebrate canoe. And this whole canoe museum as a Jimon Kinamagawan is a place where we're all learning, but we're also building really strong connections. And this group that's with us right now, 100 plus of you at the moment, you all have a really special connection to us or to Scott and Grit. And it's fantastic that I'm seeing all these worlds colliding tonight. And this is what this place was built to be, and what this place will be forever and ever more because of good people like you that are here making this a reality. So, yes, so it's hard not to get sort of distracted by the beauty of what nights like this are. And so knowing that this place is about connections and about the incredible people that make up this place, so much of that is built on the relationships that we have. And these relationships are really fundamental to everything that we do at the Canoe Museum. And it's interesting because this relationship with Scott and Grit McCreath, the reason we're here to open this new exhibit is sort of an evolution of many, many moments over time that brought us to this night together. And it was, like 8 years ago or so. For those of you that know, we were traveling across the country putting on these silver canoe dinners, and we were in Calgary, and we heard about, Scott and Grit were in the audience at one of the lectures and one of the talks, and we sort of started to get to know these guys a little bit better and started to realize that they have this incredible collection of canoe-related art. And here we are as a canoe museum about to begin construction on a brand new facility, which also has this really strange collection of canoes and kayaks from all around the world. And here's another couple that are sort of doing the same thing. And how could we not? Good night, you guys. Thank you. See you soon. How could we not eventually become kindred spirits? And so after many years of developing this relationship, and you'll hear a little bit more from Scott and Grit when they're up here at the podium, it has led to today. And that is not without a lot of effort and care and love, but we're excited to be able to bring that to you. But Scott and Grit are surrounded, as many of you know, by incredible people. Two of those people you're going to hear from tonight, one of them being Ewen. Anne has been a longtime friend of Scott and Grit and helped to put together the many, many exhibitions over the course of her career. But in particular at the Whyte Museum, if anybody, I know there were some people I was talking to that were at the Whyte Museum in Banff, the Whyte Museum of the Canadian Rockies, where they exhibited the full show, the full collection of the McCreath art collection. And Anne was the curator of the collection at that time. And so we're going to hear a little bit from Anne, because it's a different perspective than you might hear from others. So Anne, please join us here at the podium.
There it is. It's on. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's great to see so many happy faces. So a large part of a curatorial role is staying current and navigating the shifting tides of both contemporary and historic communities and cultures. It's a bit like trying to paddle a canoe in a crosswind. You need a steady hand and a really reliable compass. For me, Masters Gallery Calgary was that tributary. And it's Rod Green's creation and vision brought to life where historic narratives and contemporary voices meet. It's a place where the past and the present don't just coexist, but sit down for a very sophisticated conversation, keeping us grounded in our heritage while remaining alert to the voices of today. And it's a skill well understood by the Canadian Canoe Museum. Rod and I crossed paths at Masters Gallery, but we truly aligned at the Whyte Museum, where some of our most rewarding work together happened. Excuse me. Rod was a board member and chair of the art committee, while I was a director and chief curator. It was there I had a front row seat to the Rod Green effect. Sorry about that. Building a collection is a bit like trying to organize a community potluck. You need a vast network. Oh, it's okay, thanks, great, yeah. It's like organizing a community potluck. You need a vast network, incredible persistence, and the ability to convince people that their prized possessions would look better in your house than theirs. Rod's vast knowledge and legendary Black Book brought collectors and donors to the museum who otherwise might have stayed under the radar. He also gathered for acquisition the entire McCreath collection. I've got to find that page. There we go. Rod is internationally recognized for his discretion and business acumen, with numerous awards and honors justly bestowed upon him. He is a mentor to many and continues to be respected as a cornerstone of the Canadian art scene. And just a bit about the commercial gallery role in our Canadian culture. Their role is incredibly important in promoting the arts in Canada, and we can't underestimate the work that they do. Our Canadian museum communities flourish because of people like Rod. They're, they're the ones in the trenches, discovering talent, building legacies, and ensuring that culture isn't just something we talk about, but something that we actually experience. So that was my little speech about commercial galleries. I met Grit McCreath in 2013 when she served on the board of the Whyte Museum. Over the following decade, a friendship with Scott and Grit took root, nurtured by a shared love of the arts and the occasional loan of one of their stunning paintings. In 2024, driven by what I prefer to call a bold curatorial vision, though Grit and Scott likely remember it as sheer nerve, I asked to borrow the entire private collection of over 90 works for a 3-month-long summer exhibition at the Whyte. And to my delight, they said yes. And to their credit, they still have not blocked my phone calls. The exhibition at the Whyte was a spectacular success, drawing massive crowds hungry for authentic cultural narratives. That same vibrant energy is experienced here at the Canadian Canoe Museum, where you are preserving and documenting a culturally iconic vessel that is essentially the birthright and legacy of the Canadian waterways. The best part of tonight is to announce that we're doing a book, Rod and I, and it's called Canoe, A Collection of Canadian Art, and it will contain the entire McCreath collection. It's being published by Figure One in Vancouver, and Friesen Printers in Vancouver are handling the actual production. So it was a real coup to land these two companies. Figure One are widely regarded as one of the best in the business for high-end, visually driven books. And with Friesen's attention to paper stock and binding, a standard publication is turned into a coffee table masterpiece. By documenting in book form, a collection of this magnitude, it ensures the canoe's visual narrative is permanently woven into the fabric of Canada's cultural history. It also provides the public who are not regulars to museums with the opportunity to either purchase this book or borrow it from their local library. So it's a great honor to celebrate the gratitude of both Scott and Grit, their philanthropic vision, one that brings their private treasure into the public light. We're also delighted to partner with the exceptional team at the Canadian Canoe Museum, whose dedication and tireless efforts have been instrumental in bringing a portion of this amazing collection here for you to view. And in closing, I just want to say that our heritage is something that we carry with us, much like a canoe on a long portage. It's all encompassing, it's traditional, but if you don't balance the elements properly, then everything and everybody gets wet. So our canoe team is a cohesive mixture of generosity, expertise, partnership, and vision. Scott, Grit, and Rod, thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this journey with you. Caroline, Jeremy, and your team, thank you for hosting us. It's really been fun. Thank you.
We've heard a lot about the infamous Rod, so wouldn't it be appropriate if Rod Green came to the podium and shared a little bit of story as well? Rod, please join us here.
Well, good evening, everybody, and I'd just like to say thank you very much to Anne's very kind and long words just about me, but we're not here about me. We're here really to celebrate the McCreaths, and I know you haven't a clue really what's behind that black door that's across the hall yet, but I can tell you that over a 20-year period, this collection has been put together with a lot of love, a lot of direction. It covers 50 different artists from across the country. It covers almost 90 works in total, half about are here. And it has a covered lineage of 205 years. The first painting in the collection is from 1820. The last painting that's here in the collection is 2025, I believe. So it's a vast array, all dedicated to the canoe. And when I walked in here for the very first time Tuesday morning, I'd never been here before. I've been to Toronto many, many times, but never Peterborough, never the Canoe Museum. And I first took a picture of the four of us like rock stars out front with the emblem on the wall, then walked inside and I just stood in the front atrium and I took a picture. And in my 40 plus year career in the art world, I've been to many institutions across the country, many homes across the country. But when I walked in your doors, I include you all, because you're big supporters of this institution, I was knocked over. I took a picture of the front, I took pictures upstairs, and on the board of the Whyte, we're talking about doing something with the Whyte in Banff. And when I can show them pictures of what's been completed here and how you people enjoy it and support it, led by these two very fine people in the front row, it's quite something. And I really give kudos to everybody in Peterborough, grassroots and up to the Power Corp type people, that this place is a place to visit. And I would really welcome the tourism that this place is going to create. Because I said to Scott yesterday, I said, well, what's the population of Peterborough? And listen, I'm getting off topic for a minute, but I have to say this. And he said it's like 83,000. And so I learned how many people came through the Canoe Museum yesterday at a meeting. And I said to Scott, I said, we get 4.4 million people going through Banff every year. And we're talking about building a new museum at the Whyte in Banff. It should be a no-brainer. But anyway, with things like this, with parks and provincial, it becomes a problem. But anyway, what you've done here is fantastic. And the whole reason that this collection came about was 20 years ago, 2006, almost 20 years to the day. Grit, Mrs. McCreath, came in to see me and said, I need a birthday present for Scott. And I knew Scott's background with his dad and canoeing all over northern Saskatchewan, and I had just bought a beautiful little Lucius O'Brien, which you'll see tonight, 1875, a painting of two Indigenous people in a canoe going through reeds on the Ottawa River, this big. And I said, Grit, I think Scott would really like this. And she said, yeah, I think he would too. So she bought it, wrapped it, took it, gave it to Scott. Scott came back the next week and thanked me for the thought and the idea. And he said, we should maybe think about if you turn up any more canoes, let me know. So 20 years later, at about 4 paintings a year, they're here mostly on the wall to see. So it's been a labor of love and just a fantastic friendship, love, heartfelt things and all that. And we've been friends for 40 years. So it developed in the last 20, and I don't know what else to say other than, oh, read something. I thought this was good. So I was going through, coincidentally, an old ornament magazine from 2 years ago, summer 2024. And in there was a statement. And I thought this was good. On June 26th, 2024, it was the canoe ranks as one of the 7 wonders of Canada, and National Canoe Day recognized this importance. CBC anchor, then Peter Mansbridge, observed, "It's hard to imagine Canada without the canoe. To many, the quintessential Canadian experience begins by picking up a paddle." So I'll leave you there. You don't know what's across the hall, but if you have any inkling about Canadian art, you all know canoes, but if you know any inkling about Canadian art and Canadian artists, you're going to get your socks knocked off, truly. So enjoy, and thank you for your time, and thank you very much for all of your support for these 2 people and this place and time, because in the 10 years from now, this place will be known not only in Canada, it'll be like the Bilbao of the canoe. So thank you very much.
It's not very often you meet 2 very incredible, very humble and grounded people who have done incredible things with their life. And when you meet these individuals, you're sort of blown away by their reputation and their presence. But then you sit down and you have a conversation with them, and it feels like you're talking to people you've known for your entire life. And Scott and Grit are those people. They are salt of the earth, good people, grounded in their, I know this is a terrible thing to do you, so I won't look at you, but they are very much grounded in their roots, and they know where they're from. And I think that is an incredible asset to have in these, with these times. And so it's my pleasure to have Scott and Grit come up and share a little bit about how they got involved in collecting this incredible collection. And I hope that you can also have a conversation with Scott and Grit at some point tonight and come to your own realization that you probably know them in some way or another. And these are 2 very fine individuals, and it gives you faith in humanity, that there are good people out there, and they just happen to be here tonight. So I'm going to welcome Grit up first, because she's my sister. Here she is. Come on up. Grit McCreath.
Who is she talking about? Oh my goodness. First of all, happy 2nd birthday, CCM. Just this week, you celebrated your 2nd birthday, and that is just phenomenal. So 3 cheers for CCM. And congratulations to Carolyn and Jeremy and the whole Canadian Canoe Museum team. You're all around the room, and kudos to every single one of you. I, like Rod, will not forget walking into the exhibit for the first time yesterday. It took my breath away, and I got quite teary. What a wonderful exhibit. And how lucky are all of you to have this Canadian treasure right here in Peterborough. I have 2 stories to share with you. Rod has alluded to the first one, and exactly 20 years ago, Scott was about to celebrate his 60th birthday, and I went to Masters Gallery to get some ideas from Rod. He suggested this lovely small painting by Lucius O'Brien, who was the most prominent Canadian artist of his generation and one of the first artists invited to travel and paint the Rocky Mountains on the newly completed Canadian Pacific Railway in 1886. The piece, Denizens of the Ottawa, is 151 years old. And that was the start of our collection. Funnily enough, I couldn't tell you what happened next. What was our 2nd purchase? What was our 3rd purchase? No idea. I don't know how many times, however, we would get a call from Rod going, "Hey, Grit, do you want to just pop by the gallery? I've got something I want to show you." And Scott would get a call at the office, "Scott, on the way home today, why don't you just stop by? I'd like to chat." And he was even known to show up at our door holding a painting in front of his face going, "What do you think?" And I did a lot of shrieking and going, "Yeah, that's amazing." Anyway, I can't tell you how much I have enjoyed this 20-year journey, especially sharing it with Scott. And I think we could probably call it an addiction. It's almost Scott's 80th birthday, and I asked Rod if he had any ideas for his benchmark birthday. And he said, "Grit, a hug and a kiss." It's just as well as the collection has grown to about 90 pieces, and I keep telling him he's cut off. My next story is about meeting Carolyn and Jeremy. Last October, we headed east from Calgary on a pilgrimage to visit your beautiful new museum. It was a love-in. We had a 5-star behind-the-scenes tour with Jeremy's exquisite narrative and Carolyn's infectious energy. Carolyn and I immediately connected, and we now call ourselves sisters. Scott and I were blown away, excited, and super enthusiastic with what we had seen, and before we left, we committed to supporting the museum and making a donation. And we were also inspired by 2 Calgary donors, Jim Gray and Ron Mannix, and some of you may know them. So within just a couple of days of getting home, we get a call from Carolyn and Jeremy, and it's just like, "Hi, just wondering, would you ever consider loaning us some of your pieces?" And without even having Carolyn finish the sentence, I said, "Of course, we would do that." And so here we are. Delighted to share our passion and collection with you. Delighted to have worked with Lois, Rod, and Anne, our dream team and fantastic friends. And delighted to have crossed paths and connected with the wonderful world-class Canadian Canoe Museum. All of you, especially Carolyn and Jeremy, we wish you all happy paddling.
I'm next, I guess. Right up front, you should all know my wife's an educator and spent all her years in education. And the teacher's pension fund has been officially drained because of this addiction. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for attending. It's just for us an unbelievable honor and pleasure to be here. And it's nice that you've all come. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the lead sponsor here, which is Power Corp. And the Desmarais family is well known in Canada for its support of the arts. And so it's very generous. I was hoping to meet one of them. They were here last night, but I missed that. But I think publicly it's important for Grit and I to acknowledge their generosity. The finest, I'm basically a retired businessman, and the finest definition I ever read was written by a man by Tom Peters, who described a team as being a group of ordinary people achieving extraordinary things. And this museum is an unbelievable example of that. The staff around here are a group of ordinary people, but they're extraordinary in what they have created here. For those of you that are local, I can't imagine how incredibly proud you are of this institution, because this is an incredible place. Because of our interest in art, whenever we've traveled, we've always been drawn to art institutions, and this is a special place. So I think it's really important tonight to acknowledge that. I would like to honor 4 people or issues tonight. First of all, as Canadians, we enjoy and have probably the second or largest boreal forest in the world. And this boreal forest is a labyrinth of rivers, streams, ponds, lakes. If you look at it geologically, it's incredible, the waterways. And so it's important for us to acknowledge that, because from this comes the magnificent birch. And you can only imagine the size and the history of these trees that were cut. Some of them would be 100, 150 years old, and some of them are still being used today to make canoes. And of course, these canoes came about by the ingenuity of the First Nations communities. So I think it's important we honor them tonight. The First Nations communities basically built and designed hundreds of different varieties of canoes that were dedicated to their special needs. I won't dwell on that too long, but there are books been written about this. The other thing that's important to Grit and I is we both come from very modest families. And when I first started to date Grit, I was attracted to one of her interests, and that is, in her home, the walls were covered with art. And my father was an amateur artist. He sold everything he ever painted, and he painted hundreds of canvases, watercolors. He never dealt with an art gallery, ever, never sold anything through art galleries. His art just disappeared. And a lot of the art was exchanged with other artists. So if you were an artist, you want one of my dad's paintings, and he would exchange. So although I came from a modest family, our house was full of art. And I didn't know at the time, but when we went on holidays, we never went very far. So if we went from Saskatoon, that's where Grit and I grew up, and we went to Moose Jaw, our dad would haul us into the Moose Jaw Art Gallery. We'd have to stand in front of the art, and he'd tell us all about it. So through osmosis, I say this modestly, I probably developed an eye for art because of my dad. So I would like to honor my dad tonight, and that's important. And when I was 10 years of age, my dad bought a canoe for $10. It was not water worthy. And so my dad was handy. We hauled it into the basement, refurbished it, gave it a new skin. And until I left home at age 23, my dad and I paddled that thing all over the place, like all over the place. All over the place. And so that's been a really important aspect of my interest in canoe and canoe art. They've told you about the book. The only thing I'd say about the book, it's been an incredible production by Rod and Ann, and it's important in front of you. I thank them for that. I'm just about finished, but I would say this on a local note, that the first time we came here, it was days after we left before we sent some money here, and I'm unbelievably proud to have our name on the board downstairs. And I would just like to tell all of you that we're not finished giving. So I hope you enjoy the art tonight. The room is full of Canadian history. I'll try my best not to spend any time telling you all about it, but I'm biased, but the art is really quite fascinating. Thank you very much.
Well, what a treat to have you, the four of you here tonight. Good evening. Try that again. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeremy Ward. It's my privilege to be the curator here with the Canadian Canoe Museum. This has been a heady number of days with you four here with us, and in the weeks building up, I must tell you, the probably 6, 8, 9 texts a day of enthusiasm and cheering and questions as we've been hanging art in this installation and working on it. It's just, the momentum has been extraordinary. And something else too, I think, as we've often said, this museum has been built on the strength of its relationships. And we have never done an art exhibit at the Canadian Canoe Museum. Frankly, we don't actually have that much wall space given the fact we have 640 canoes that occupy the floor, that there isn't a lot of space for art. We had to create new walls in our temporary exhibit room in the John Jennings family temporary exhibit hall in order to accommodate the only 43 paintings, half of your collection. But it's been amazing to see where these relationships have led us. And even tonight, there are new connections being made fast and furious. It's really, really quite something. I think I'm grateful to you both, Scott and Grit, for your words tonight. It's really heartfelt, and we certainly both feel just as sincerely grateful to you both and appreciative of what we've learned through the journey with you putting this exhibit together, and to you, Anne, and to you, Rod and Lois, for your support in the development of this exhibit. It's a thrill to have it up for a year. Yeah, just a year. I'm backing off, pushing for more on the microphone, although I wouldn't say no. But I want to actually start just by saying, focusing on something else, which is this is an extraordinary collection. It did not begin as an art gallery. It began in a home. It began is an opportunity that was recognized, and you have created something truly magnificent with the help from your friends. And we are hosting your collection here at the Canadian Canoe Museum, as has been talked about, which is no different. This is not a collection that began at a museum. It did not began as a grand federal project. This began at a summer camp, as you all know. But it was a spark, and it was an inspired moment when the camp's director, Kirk Whipper, and the community around him, but really Kirk led this. He was a force of nature, if you knew him. Some of you did. Recognize that something greater than the sum of its parts comes when you bring together different examples of a type. A canoe is not often something that is world-defining. It is not always there at the most punctuating moments in human history, but it has always been there in people's lives. And there are some very famous people, for what it's worth, whose canoes are in their collection. And they were members of their families, just as they are members of people's families, ordinary people like you and me. And the gathering of a collection like the Canadian Canoe Museum is extraordinary, but we could not miss the opportunity to bring these two private collections together and see what kind of alchemy might happen. And I think something extraordinary has happened, as I look forward to taking you in. I want to also say that being in a private collection, there are many names, if you are interested in art, there are many names you will recognize. And whether it's Francis Hopkins or Charles Armstrong or William Armstrong or F.H. Johnson or Ken Danby. Ken's son Ryan is here tonight, and Ken's painting became the title image for the exhibit. Ryan, thank you for letting us use it for the promotional materials for the Canoe Perspectives piece. But the fact that this has been in a private home, and to see a home with about 90 paintings hanging on the wall is really quite something. But the fact that they've been there means that they've really been seldom seen. This is the largest gathering of the McCreath collection this far east in Canada. And so this is a rare opportunity for us all to see it here. Amidst the paintings, we've included 6 selected pieces from our collection. 3 canoes and 3 small objects, each with a story to tell. We've gone through our collection very carefully to make sure that the pieces that are there enhance the stories and the narratives and the discovery of the art itself. As you come in, you'll see an exquisite macaque, a birch bark basket made by a dear friend of ours named Helen Peltier up in Fort William First Nation. And she's done this beautiful piece etched into the winter bark, into the wigwas, the babone wigwas, that has the pictograph that is seen on a rock face on her traditional territory. It's the same pictograph that has been used, a likeness of which to be the logo of the Canoe Museum. So she, doing painted interpretations of the canoe, the likeness of the canoe, in fact, stretches back centuries and millennia. And she's demonstrated that by doing a likeness of a pictograph, and it's featured there prominently as you enter. I want you to notice that when you come in. Walking further back, you'll see a beautiful painting of a gentleman making parts of a canoe at a shave horse, but he's sitting at the shave horse using a wagikoman. It's a local term for the crooked knife in Mississauga, Anishinaabe, also called a crooked knife or a mokatagan. And so we've asked John Wagar, who teaches workshops here. John lives in Curve Lake First Nation. He's an incredible instructor and maker, and he's made the most exquisite crooked knife that I have ever seen, and it's prominently featured and cased. John, where are you? You're also here. I know you are. Oh, there we go. And we couldn't miss the opportunity to showcase another person who's perhaps to many known better in our circles, better as a paddler. But Bill Mason described himself. Sometimes I wonder if sorry, Becky, if I'm ruining this, but if I'm a painter who loves to paddle or a paddler who loves to paint. And this is his plein air paint box that he took with him on trip. It's featured in his films. And to see this battered, rugged old paint box that he would take on trip with a draft of the Grand Chute from the Des Moines left unfinished with this piece is quite wonderful, juxtaposed with these finished studio oils by these incredible painters. Look overhead, you'll see a beautiful red chestnut canoe. Like many of us, this was a lifetime companion for the Larson family, and I know the Larsons are here. And their mother and grandmother, where are we? There we are. Hi, glad you're here. So Lynn Larson, as a young engineering graduate, purchased this canoe with her first paycheck, and it was a lifetime companion in the Larson family. So enjoy that red chestnut. Next to it is Robert Bateman's 12.5-foot Minto canoe. Bateman was an avid canoeist as well as an environmentalist and painter, a very accomplished Canadian painter. So to bring those two together, I remember picking up Bateman's canoe when he was donating it to the museum, and he said, I'm sorry, the grandkids were up on the weekend to say goodbye to my canoe. And they all took it for a skin and they scratched the hell out of it. So rather than get him into the water for one final paddle, he was mixing his artist's paints, and he was doing careful infill painting on the canoe before it got handled with white gloves by a museum. And the last canoe is perhaps the most striking. It is an astonishing piece by Cesar Newashish from Manawan. Cesar is a really important legendary canoe maker, a Atikamekw canoe maker, in an NFB documentary called Caesar's Bark Canoe. You've probably seen it. Enjoy looking at that. So I'm about to bring us into the exhibit. Bear with me, but it has been acknowledged before, but we cannot express our gratitude to Power Corp of Canada deeply enough for their support with this. It's that kind of support that allows us to deliver the great programming that we do here at the museum. And along with Power, they have been joined by new friends. We've had a long relationship with Power Corporation that in fact goes back to 1996, our first partnership with them. But we've been joined by new friends that we discovered through this exhibit. And this is Barlett Lodge of Algonquin Park and Camp Tanamakoon. So big thanks to all of you, to our supporters. And Scott, you gave us that beautiful description of a team, and the Canoe Museum, our full-time staff for a place like this is quite small. We're just over 12, around 12 people. We've just brought on our seasonal staff this week, so we've just almost doubled in size, which is exciting. And so we're all into each other's business, leaning on each other, helping each other get things done. And I am privileged to work with an incredible team on the exhibits here at the Canoe Museum, and I just want to acknowledge each of them. Of course, Carolyn, Hyslop, our executive director, who is involved with everything, but as a past educator as a past educator and a keen paddler and a great eye for visitor experience, Carolyn is part of the team. Also, my dear colleague Beth Stanley, associate curator, who also runs the half of the front, the students, the collections, the exhibits, and the retail, the gift shop off the side of her desk. MJ Prue, who is our collections access coordinator. MJ is involved, like Beth, in so many elements here, but really one of the driving forces to help make sure that this museum's collection is accessible. And because our exhibits are very interactive, and because he's a great ally, Peter Voice, who's our programs manager, is also an important part of the team. So I want to thank all of you for helping us put this exhibit together. And now, the moment we're all waiting for. Shall we go see the exhibit? Please join me, and we're going to open up the temporary exhibit.